We have reached the climatological peak of hurricane season. This is America's Morning Headquarters. I'm meteorologist Stephanie Abrams alongside meteorologist Jordan Steele and Reynolds Wolf.
Good morning, everybody. All right, the big question, where are the storms in the Atlantic? Can't find them. We're going to tell you just how rare this lull is and when things might change.
Right, and a story about something that you're not going to see, but something you're going to feel, and that is the summer heat. Yeah, we got those temperatures that are going to be warming up once again. By next week, we're talking about temperatures that are going to be affecting up to 90 million people with temperatures above 90 degrees. The roast is on.
You know, somebody was like, move out of the way. I can't see it.
It does happen.
All right, we got some video in the Weather Channel here to show you some of these downpours.
Let's start off with where we do have our coastal advisories. Notice from North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and down into Florida. This means that you could see some coastal flooding. And remember, if you get that coastal flooding, it's not going to be freshwater. It will be saltwater, and that could be problematic for your car. With an onshore flow, I'll show you why we're going to get that onshore flow. We are going to see our coastal flood gauges minor to even moderate here along the first coast down even towards the Space Coast. So things are going to get rough for us. And notice we do have some clouds and we have some showers. Mainly everything is offshore for right now. Winds are still a little blustery this morning, and they will continue to stay strong because we have high pressure and we have low pressure. Now that high pressure is moving away, but this is high pressure as well. So a few things are happening here. Strong high pressure, strong low pressure. In between that, we have a pressure gradient that gives you the strong winds. It's also about wind direction around the system. Clockwise flow around a high, counterclockwise flow around a low. That's giving us that northeast wind along the shore, and it's strong because these are close together. So that's one of the factors that we have playing here. The other thing we have are the astronomical tides. Because we had that recent full moon and we have lunar perigee today, that's when the moon is closest to the Earth, and that is another factor as well. So notice in Charleston, high tide is at 10:48 this evening. Our next high tide is going to be Thursday morning, and there's that northeast flow. And so expect to see elevated waters through the rest of the week for us. Fernandina Beach, this is in the Jacksonville area. High tide will be this afternoon and then again into our Thursday afternoon. But you can see that onshore flow of those very strong winds. That means we're going to see the water level rise. We're going to see waves. We're going to see rip currents. A lot of coastal concerns for us. But Jordan, what's interesting is that high pressure to the north, it blocks any showers and storms from developing here. So a lot of us might see the sunny skies, but the beach will be very rough.
All right, well, that was kind of
This Wednesday edition of America's Morning Headquarters. Today marks the climatological peak of the Atlantic hurricane season. We're going to break down why the basin is unusually quiet and what to expect from the second half of the season. But first, let's get you out the door here in the Northeast.
Mean could be your friend. Back to you.
All right, Reynolds, thanks for the update. Here we go. We're talking about being right in the middle of peak hurricane season.
That's right. September 10th is the climatological peak of the hurricane season. Typically, before this time, if you look on average, we do have several named storms, and we got up to F. We're at 6 named storms. We were right at the top here.
So from this point forward, we should start to slowly work our way down. But this year's been so interesting.
It's been a strange one. Even though we're working our way down, doesn't mean you can't have a storm. But in theory, things should be slowing. Let's go back to 2021, September 10th, the peak of the season.
Okay, we're going to look at this day over the last couple of years, give you an idea of what the basin looked like. 2021, we had several areas that are highlighted.
Yeah, and also named systems.
Named systems.
2022, exactly we had Earl. We also had an area that we were watching for. 2023, 2 named systems.
2 other waves coming in that could develop. 2024, you had Francine in the Gulf, a couple areas that we were highlighting here that could turn into another named system. And then you go to this year and you're like, huh, this is interesting. The last, 4 or 5 years we just showed all had activity in the basin on this day, and this year, nothing.
So let's talk about how rare this is. If we look back in the last 30 years, without a named system on this date, there's only been 3 years.
Wow.
That is it. In the last 30 years, on this date, we have had a named system with the exception of 3 years. And of course, there's absolutely nothing for us here developing.
Yeah, and so far this year, it's, another one of the reasons why it's been interesting is the first couple of named storms came and went in like 24 hours.
Yeah, they did.
Were very, very fast. Thankfully, we had Aaron that came through, helped generate a lot of that accumulated cyclone energy. Fernand we were talking about, but they stayed out to sea.
But that ACE is still below average, and that just
now
means
below average.
But here's another one for you. The last time we didn't have, last time a hurricane, I should say, didn't occur between August 20th and now was 1994. I mean, you're talking about the peak of the hurricane season, mid-August into mid-September. Last year without a September U.S. hurricane landfall, 2015.
So
10
what
years.
we're saying is this year is like a unicorn.
It is. Let's hope it stays that way.
Unique. You're like, oh my gosh, there's a unicorn. Because this is the month where we technically have the best chance for anything to come to the homeland. And then obviously it does drop off a bit going into October.
But there's been a lot of strong October hurricanes. Now, the Atlantic Basin may be unusually quiet. Will it stay that way?
All right, here's what hurricane expert Dr. Rick Knabb had to say.
Marcus, of course, in spots like St. Augustine. Back to you, Steph.
All the clouds and the showers, that will keep the temperatures down. Notice we are in mid to upper 80s in South Florida, while we're in the low 90s in the Panhandle, where we're getting that sunshine. Another place where we're going to see that sunshine and the warm temperatures, St. Louis. Our average high this time of year, 83 degrees. And notice we're going to be in the 90s. So when do we typically stop seeing the 90s? September 16th, the average last 90-degree high temperature. And obviously, we're not quite at the 16th yet, but we're still above average by 10, even 13 degrees. And that's in the shade. That's where the temperatures take. Remember, in the direct sunlight, it's going to be even hotter than that. So if we look at the Midwest, the average last date of a 90-degree day, Minneapolis, Chicago, it's typically late August, and then we get into early to mid-September for Indianapolis, Kansas City, and St. Louis for us. But look what happens with this warm-up. These are populations above average, and we are warming up Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 100 million right through the center of the country are going to be warm, and that's because we have this jet stream that is going to be going very far north. And what this does, it allows that warm air to get into the northern part of the country. So today, not bad into the Midwest. Southern Plains, obviously very hot into Dallas. Tomorrow, look at Casper, Wyoming. These are our lows. We could have record warm lows. So it's not only our highs, but our overnight lows are going to be warm. And then tomorrow, look at that. Kansas City starting to jump up with our temperature at 90 degrees. And that heat is going to stay intact, actually, as we head through the end of the week and into the weekend. So Chicago, 85 Friday. Kansas City, 93. Minneapolis, we're going to be 70 degrees above average at 82.
Playgrounds get so hot and ways to beat that heat.
It is hot. Hey, Timon and Pumbaa, are you guys starting to feel a little tired? Let's get you back in the jungle and out of the sun. So much better, right, guys? When it gets really hot, you've got to be careful. Driveways and playgrounds can get very hot because dark, dense materials like asphalt and metal are really good at absorbing the sun's radiation or energy waves, so they can heat up much faster than the air temperature. Even if you find yourself in some shade on the hottest days, nice spot, guys, you should still pay attention to how your body is feeling during the summer. This includes heavy sweating or feeling really tired. You might even get a headache or muscle cramps. So if you or a friend find yourself feeling this way, get out of the sun and get indoors to a cool location immediately. Get in front of a fan to cool off and absolutely drink water. It is so important to stay hydrated. The hottest time of the day is typically between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. So remember to wear sunglasses and light-fitting clothes. It is also a good time to take it easy and find some shade or air conditioning. You guys are too funny here. So stay safe out there and take those.
The water's edge.
There's also a great video to show you why you do not want to go under a tree when there is any lightning around or there's any sort of storm that is nearby, because lightning wants to go to the highest point, path of least resistance. We are going to show you where the water will be going to the path of least resistance, and that's along the coastal areas from Florida all the way up into points of the Northeast. We are going to see that water rise. Remember, this is salt water, so you're going to see that northeast wind because we have low pressure off the coast, high pressure inland, and in between those two systems, we get that northeast wind. And then don't forget, we also have what's happening in the universe, meaning that the sun, the moon, and the earth are lined up. We have some syzygy. The moon is also at its closest point to the earth. That's perigee. And so that means that you're going to see those bigger tides. So you got the higher tides and the winds on top of it combined. That's going to be problematic. Speaking of winds, right along the coast, we had our winds gusting here over 40 miles an hour. Daytona Beach gusting to 40. And with that onshore push, you see those gauges that are now already into minor and also moderate flood stage for us. And I can't emphasize enough, this is salt water that's going to be coming in, and it will be problematic. On into Mayport, Florida. Look at that onshore push. You can see the winds just going right from the ocean on land, and high tide will be at 11:35 p.m. today, and also as we head into 12:05 p.m. High tide, we've got the astronomical issues, we've got the onshore flow. Everything is just going to be super elevated here, and the forecast actually shows us here into the northeast also seeing that elevation. Remember, we do have low pressure that is crawling up the coast and giving us that onshore flow, and also giving us the clouds and some of that wet weather as well. Gusty winds could make for some bumpy flights here, so keep that in mind if you're doing any traveling. There's our low pressure crawling up the coast, giving us the clouds and the showers. But notice the interior, we do have that sunshine for us. The heaviest rain is going to stay offshore, but we are still going to stay very cloudy and breezy, so not a great day to go to the beach. A little bit of a closer look here at Cape May. Again, look at that onshore flow to Atlantic City, Toms River, and also as we go even into places like Dover, Jordan, you have... We have reached the climatological peak of hurricane season. This is America's Morning Headquarters. I'm meteorologist Stephanie Abrams, alongside meteorologist Reynolds Wolf and Jordan
Steele. Put Reynolds in the middle. He's the tallest, so it just peaks right above.
Block out everything,
no,
that's for sure.
Right up
My
there,
goodness.
because we're at the top of it. Big question is, where are the storms in the Atlantic? We're going to tell you just how rare this lull is and when things could change.
And we're going to talk about the heat. We've got it. Yeah, another round of summer-like conditions that are going to be setting up. You see the story for your Friday, for your Saturday, and sure enough on Sunday, even the map is kind of hot to the fingers. Yeah, it's going to be feeling like above 90 degrees for many people for this